Now here's the quiet irony. The people whose money grows the fastest rarely look like they're rushing. The ones whose net worth climbs year after year are usually the ones who slip out of the office without a speech, who walk past the spotlight, who go home to routines that look almost boring. From a distance it looks slow. Up close it is anything but. Picture Alex on a late-night train. Office clothes still on, collar slightly creased, eyes a little tired. A friend's feed glows on the phone. Rooftop dinners, designer sneakers, a rented sports car parked diagonally for the photo. Swipe, swipe, swipe. Then the screen changes. Alex opens a banking app. A small notification at the top. Transfer complete. $150, quietly moved into an index fund that has never appeared on any social story. No one claps for that transfer. No one even knows. But 3 years later, when the company announces restructuring in a cold email, the difference between panic and calm is not a sudden miracle. It is every one of those invisible clicks that happened on nights like this, when Alex looked ordinary and acted differently. The world teaches that fast money is loud money. Big risks, big bets, big announcements. New cars, sudden upgrades, one bold move that changes everything. The brain loves that story because drama feels like progress. But compounding is indifferent to drama. Compounding listens to repetition. To small, repeated decisions that happen without noise, without applause, without the need to prove anything. So the real question is simple and uncomfortable. Are you chasing the feeling of progress or the math of progress? Are your financial moves built to impress an audience, or to quietly increase a balance sheet that only you ever see? One of those paths creates a performance. The other creates options. By the end of this video you will see that fast does not mean frantic. It means quiet, repeatable, almost invisible. 7 silent money habits. 7 ways to move like nothing is happening, while everything is quietly changing underneath. Habit 1 begins where most people lose the game, the moment money first arrives. Income lands in an account and for most people the mind lights up. Plans appear. The urge to fix discomforts, upgrade small annoyances, finally buy the thing that has been sitting in the online cart. It feels like you are deciding what to do with your money. But most of the time, the decision has already been made by your habits. Emma decides to do something different. Emma sets up a paycheck so that, before Emma ever touches a dollar, a system moves it. $220 into a broad market fund. $80 into a high-yield savings account. The rest goes to a separate card that Emma uses for life's usual chaos. Rent, food, friends, random expenses. There is no heroic moment each month where Emma sits down and makes a disciplined choice. There was just that one quiet afternoon where the accounts were set up, and then left alone. 2 years pass. Life does what life always does. Some months feel tight. Some feel easy. Plans change, moods shift. But the system does not care. Every time income hits, the same pattern repeats. Without fanfare, Emma looks one day and sees over $7,000 invested and $2,000 sitting safely in cash reserves. No big win. Just no interruptions. The mind treats money it can see as mine, and money it never sees as not missing. Automation takes that bias and turns it into an ally. Instead of fighting yourself every month, begging for more willpower, you shrink the battlefield. You only argue about what is left after your future has already been paid. The habit is not be good with money. The habit is design your accounts so money behaves well without you. When you do that, you quietly become someone who always invests, not because you wake up motivated but because you remove the need to be motivated at all. And once some of your money moves without asking, the next habit becomes easier. Choosing what to do with what remains. Fast wealth does not require a vow of poverty. You will still spend. You will still enjoy things. The difference is what you choose to enjoy. Daniel receives a bonus and walks past a store window filled with polished glass and strategic lighting. A watch gleams on a velvet stand, perfectly angled to whisper, "You earned this." For a moment, Daniel imagines the compliments, the subtle glances, the feeling of having visible proof that life is going well. Then Daniel keeps walking. Later that day, in a simple home office, Daniel opens a laptop that runs slowly, stalls during video calls, and makes freelance work feel heavier than it should. Daniel closes the window with the watch and orders a refurbished laptop instead. Not the newest, not the flashiest. Just a solid machine that doubles the speed of work. On the same screen, Daniel also orders a basic set of kitchen tools, sharp enough and reliable enough to make cooking simple. Months pass. The watch never appears. No one asks Daniel what happened to the bonus. What does happen is quieter. A few extra freelance projects each month made possible by smoother work, fewer takeout orders thanks to better tools, a gradual widening of the gap between income and expenses. Status purchases are trophies. Functional purchases are tools. Trophies give you a story to tell. Tools give you another level of control. Look at your last big purchase. Was it there to impress someone even subtly? Or did it reduce friction, increase your skills, save you time, or lower a recurring cost? Once you start asking that question, you see your spending differently. You see a quiet pattern. Wealth builds faster when your purchases keep paying you back in ways no one else can see. And when your spending becomes more intelligent, another habit makes that intelligence permanent. A fixed percentage that is quietly untouchable. Olivia earns what most would call a modest salary. Nothing dramatic. No giant commission checks. No sudden life-changing payments. But Olivia sets a rule. 18% of all income is never for spending. Salary, side gigs, even small refunds that most people treat as surprise fun money. 18% moves to never touch accounts. Some into broad funds, some into simple cash reserves. Every time. No debate. At first it feels strange. That extra dinner, that quick trip, that impulse gadget. The mind suggests each one. The rule says no. Not in a loud moral way. Just no. Over a year, $4,500 gathers in those accounts. Over 5 years, with small raises and modest returns, that rule quietly builds a base large enough to change the shape of Olivia's life. The world often rewards exceptions. Just this once, just this month, just until things calm down. But exceptions are where most people's money disappears. A fixed percentage habit eliminates exceptions. When income rises, lifestyle can rise too, but the rule rises with it. Future and present both get fed. Saving what is left is why so many accounts zigzag. Up then down then flat. A fixed percentage turns the chaos into a pattern. You no longer need a perfect plan. You just need a rule you are willing to obey even when no one is watching. Once that rule exists, the next silent habit has room to work. Deliberately living below what you could technically afford. Michael sits in a leasing office, pen in hand, looking at 2 applications. One is for a modern apartment in a trendy area. High ceilings, polished lobby, a building name that photographs well. The rent is high, but the numbers say Michael can manage it. The other application is for an older building, a little further from the center, with less shine and more silence. The rent is $380 less. Most people in that chair follow the approval, not the reality. If the system says I can afford it, I must be able to. Michael pauses. Michael thinks about the difference not as a number but as a habit. $380 month after month, not being spent on walls and a logo. $380 month after month, available for debt payoff and investments. Michael chooses the older building. No concierge. No rooftop deck. Just a peaceful space and a lower bill. Human nature expands into whatever space you give it. If your lifestyle matches the maximum you can borrow or get approved for, there is no air left for compounding to breathe. Choosing to live one step below your capacity manufactures surplus. That surplus is the real engine of fast wealth. Think about your car, your home, your subscriptions. Did you choose enough, or did you choose as much as I can get? The gap between those two is where speed lives. Underspending is not about deprivation, it is about design. You are not rejecting comfort. You are deciding what kind of comfort matters more, visible now or invisible later. When you have a little extra space between what you could spend and what you do spend, the next habit becomes powerful, turning every windfall into a worker. Hannah receives an email from HR. An annual bonus has landed. $1,350. In the past, that kind of money would have dissolved into small upgrades and forgettable weekends. Nothing wrong, nothing terrible, just gone. This time Hannah has a rule ready. Before any browsing, before any plans, Hannah opens an investing account and a loan statement. $900 moves into a diversified fund. $450 goes to the highest interest debt. The feeling is not thrilling. It is quiet. A small satisfaction, like placing a book neatly back on its shelf. Years pass. The memory of that specific bonus fades completely. Hannah could not tell you exactly which year it was. But the invested portion grows, doubling with moderate returns over time. The debt disappears months earlier than it would have, saving interest that never appears as a line item, but would have existed all the same. The brain labels windfalls as free money, which makes it easier to break your own rules. I would never spend this from my paycheck, but it is fine from this bonus. By pre-deciding that a fixed percentage of every unexpected dollar becomes a worker, an investment, a debt reducer, a skill builder, you turn rare events into permanent advantages. You do not have to kill the joy of a windfall. You can still keep a slice for celebration. But the majority serves your future, not your weekend. The habit shifts wealth from being something you occasionally chase to something your system quietly captures whenever life offers a little more than usual. Once windfalls work for you, another question appears: how do you protect what you are building so you do not panic and undo it? James maintains 4 months of essential expenses in a simple savings account. No exciting returns, no fancy name. Just a bland number that looks almost sleepy on the banking screen. James also keeps basic insurance on health, car, and apartment. Nothing extravagant. Nothing cinematic. Just coverage. Then the email arrives. Organizational changes. Restructuring. The phrases everyone understands without needing more detail. Some colleagues empty investment accounts in a rush and move back in with family. Others take on expensive credit just to stay afloat. James is not immune to fear. The stomach still tightens. Sleep still comes later than usual. But the presence of that plain savings account changes James's behavior. Instead of selling funds at a loss, James uses the buffer. Instead of clinging to pride, James accepts a lower-paying role for a while. Investments stay intact. Compounding continues, unglamorous and uninterrupted. Fear can erase years of good decisions in a single month. When nothing stands between an emergency and your investments, panic becomes the default. Safety buffers are not about pessimism. They are about giving your future self room to remain rational. Think about the times you have made money choices from a place of pure stress. Those choices rarely helped. Building a cushion is an act of kindness toward the version of you who will one day face layoffs, medical bills, or surprise repairs. That version of you deserves the option to breathe before acting. With protection in place, you are free to think longer term. And that leads to the next quiet habit: studying money in private while acting in public with silence. Sophia sits at a small kitchen table with a notebook and a basic investing book. No complicated formulas, no secret strategies. Just simple explanations of how markets work, how fees eat returns, how time multiplies small contributions. On other days, Sophia listens to thoughtful podcasts, pausing to jot down a sentence that hits hard. None of this appears online. There are no posts about grinding or leveling up. In conversations, when others argue loudly about the next big stock or the latest coin, Sophia mostly listens. When asked about a strategy, the answers are simple: low-cost funds, clear goals, reasonable risk. Over a few years, this private study compounds into clarity. Sophia stops chasing the feeling of being in on something exciting and starts valuing the feeling of sleeping well. The portfolio reflects that. So does the calm in Sophia's voice when markets dip and others start to panic. Sharing learning publicly can quietly distort it. Once you announce every insight, the focus shifts from truth to approval. You begin to care more about being right in front of people than being effective in your own life. By keeping most of your learning to yourself, you give your mind permission to change, to refine, to admit past mistakes without embarrassment. Fast wealth is not about catching the perfect trend. It is about building the skill to ignore most trends entirely. The more you understand money, the more boring your strategy often becomes. And the more boring your strategy is, the more dramatic your results look years later. All of these habits point to the same pattern, and it becomes clearest in the quiet moments of reflection. Ethan sits at a window as evening settles, looking over old notebooks and bank statements. 10 years more or less. A smaller apartment than the bank once said Ethan could afford. Automatic transfers from every paycheck that never asked for motivation. Bonuses turned into investments instead of weekends. Index funds bought without drama, held without bragging. None of those decisions on their own felt life-changing. There was no giant leap, no viral moment, no sudden upgrade that made Ethan's world unrecognizable. But when Ethan compares the current balance sheet to that of friends with similar incomes and louder lifestyles, the difference is no longer small. From the outside, progress always looks sudden. One day there was nothing, and then there was a down payment, a paid-off loan, a portfolio big enough to matter. On the inside, it was never sudden. It was rhythm. Repetition. Tiny choices made in ordinary rooms on forgettable days. Fast is often just what slow looks like when you finally see it all at once. This realization is both humbling and freeing. Humbling because you see how much time you may have spent looking for a single breakthrough, a magical moment where money would finally click. Freeing because you understand now that every silent habit you adopt is a potential turning point. Not because of today, but because of every day that follows. The engine of fast wealth is not luck, talent, or secret information. It is rhythm. And rhythm is available at any income level. The question is no longer, will I get a big break? It becomes, which quiet habit will I start living after this video ends? In the end, all of these habits collapse into one deeper choice: quiet alignment over loud performance. Laura sits at a kitchen table on a Sunday evening. No music, no notifications, just the software of an old fridge and the glow of a laptop screen. A phone lies face down nearby, turned silent on purpose. Bank statements are open. So are subscription lists, card charges, and investment accounts. Laura makes a series of small decisions that will never trend. The limit on lifestyle comes down slightly. The percentage invested each month goes up. A few subscriptions, once signed up in a moment of boredom, are cancelled without comment. An automatic transfer is increased by an amount that would barely buy a meal out but, over time, will buy something far more valuable: options. None of it feels heroic. There is no rush of adrenaline, no sense of a life being transformed in a single night. But somewhere inside, Laura senses a shift. The center of gravity is moving. Money is no longer being used to prove anything. It is being positioned to provide something. Fast wealth is not a sprint. It is the removal of drag. Every auto transfer, every unupgraded apartment, every redirected windfall, every study session no one sees, each one reduces friction between you and your future. Compounding can move quickly only when your impulses stop putting obstacles in its way. Real speed is almost impossible to notice while it is happening. Feels like routine. It looks like repetition. Only with time does it reveal itself as sudden success. If 7 Silent Money Habits That Build Wealth Fast resonates with you, if you are ready to move your money quietly instead of performing loudly, comment Silent Wealth below. Add your voice to the small group of people choosing subtle habits over loud distractions. Subscribe and walk the quieter path toward wealth and self-mastery.